Welcome to this week of Jack and No Trades. Tay, how you doing today, man?
I am great. We're going to get real interesting this week, guys. You're in for a treat.
It's going to be a hot one, just like it's been all week.
Yup.
And you know what's been hot for the last forever? Technology.
Not forever, but a long time ago, yeah.
Technology is the only thing that matters in this life.
It's true. It's really what I base all of my life decisions off of.
Right?
What can I do to get the most tech?
TVs, computers, internet, whatever. It all revolves around tech. And before computers, it was fire and wheels. So what are we going to talk about today?
I want to talk a little bit about cyborgs, but there's not really any actual technology on that yet. So we'll probably have to hold off on that for at least a couple more decades.
All right, we'll hold. But since we don't know shit about technology, we brought someone that does. We'd like to welcome Orlin to the podcast today. Orlin, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me on.
So, Orlin, why should you be on our podcast, a show about two people that don't know anything? Why are you here? It sounds like you actually know something about tech.
Well, I can't say that I don't know anything like you guys, but I have been an engineer. At least I claim to be an engineer, went to school for that. But I pretty much help people develop new technology, so it's kind of my job to know tech.
So you're well-versed in all things technological.
Well, I'm well-versed in talking about things technological and in predicting the future, which is what it's like to develop new products.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not in yet, but we'll see. Okay, well, we have three big topics we want to go over today, and hopefully you can provide some clarity for us, considering we don't know anything, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, we will test you, and hopefully you can help us actually learn something. All right, so something that I've heard a lot about and would significantly change my life is that concept or idea of a self-driving car. Why the hell do we want self-driving cars, Tay?
Oh, this gotta be good. Oh, you want me to answer?
Yeah, I want to know, why do we need a self-driving car? I want to at least have a start here.
I don't think we need a self-driving car.
Why? Like, what is it going to bring to the table?
More death, more casualties, more unease. Machines fail, right?
They do.
I mean, if those of you familiar with the Pokemon Go app, how many times has that app crashed in the past week for you?
More times than I can count.
More times than you can count, right? So why the hell would you get behind a car that you can't control?
I don't know. Orlin, why do we want self-driving cars?
Well, how many car accidents have been caused by Pokemon Go?
In my neighborhood? Probably 2, but I was involved in only one of them.
I think the fact that we have technology that we daily interact with that is constantly disrupting us, like our phones, is proof enough why we need to get people out of the business of driving their own cars.
But we're all so impulsive and emotional, and we get angry when things go wrong in our vehicle. Why shouldn't we be at the wheel? I want to be changing the landscape of traffic through my yelling and my finger gestures.
So your argument is that your emotions cause you to drive better?
Well, I think sometimes I get a little boost when I'm a little mad.
All right, this is the real fact of the matter, though. Who creates the machines? Humans or the machines?
So most of self-driving machines, what they do is machine learning. So they teach the machine how to learn, and the machine becomes a constantly better driver.
Okay. So what you're talking about is almost artificial intelligence?
It is artificial intelligence.
Okay, I got a few problems with
I got a few thoughts on
I got a
artificial
few concerns with your artificial intelligence. First, the human mind has the ability to create other machines. Therefore, the human brain has a higher capacity for knowledge and skills than a self-driving car, correct?
Yeah, but how many idiots do you know?
Exactly, but
so why does that you're not helping me here. Hurry up with this point.
I trust my brain over a car.
Okay, there you go. That was quicker. All right.
I think that's the logic problem that is proving my point.
All right, I'm going to use a better example. There's a movie called I, Robot, okay?
Yes.
With Will Smith. And I learned 2 things from I, Robot. Number 1, Will Smith is allergic to bullshit. Number 2, AI will try and kill you if it
Yes.
feels like it.
I was gonna get there. I was waiting. We're gonna be talking about artificial intelligence a little later on.
Maybe. Who knows? Okay. Well, so that we have a concept self-driving cars. Who are the big players in self-driving cars? We have people that create cars that we drive. Are the car companies the one that are going to make these things? Like, what's the deal?
So GM is actually heavily involved with moving in this direction. Obviously, Tesla is somebody who's involved, and actually, I think the player to look for is actually Uber.
Ooh.
I think Uber is going to end up being the dominant player in the self-driving car. Yeah, maybe not in developing the technology, but in actually deploying the technology. I think that that's actually what they're set up for, is to be the company that deploys self-driving cars throughout the world.
That makes sense because they already got the infrastructure with the mobile apps and the GPS and all those things. Okay.
And I think what's going to happen is that the car brand is going to be completely irrelevant. So people aren't going to be paying much attention to what kind of car they're sitting in when they're going from point A to point B. It's just going to be a car shows up and you jump in it and you take off.
Well, I think for the self-driving car movement to be successful, you're going to have to eradicate all of the current drivers in the world, because I don't think they're going to trust your self-driving cars. How do you plan to eradicate over 1 billion drivers?
When you say eradicate, do you mean killing?
Yes.
You don't have... Okay. Go ahead. You can answer that.
Yeah, I think the adoption is going to be something that happens probably faster than we think, but there's going to be kind of a virtual explosion when it does happen, that people very quickly convert over.
So it'll be like an it thing, like Pokemon Go. It'll just snowball and get huge.
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's the fear about self-driving cars, but I think that once people recognize the convenience of not having to park, I think the annoyances that drivers have actually has nothing to do with driving. It has more to do with things like paying for parking. It has to do with taking long trips and driving for long periods of time where you get bored really fast. I think those are the things that are going to really convert drivers over.
I love my alone time on the open road, and I'm not going to let anyone take that from me.
But you get more alone time in a self-driving car because you can actually lay back and not do anything.
I like the feel of the steering wheel in my hands, the sound of the Subaru as I put my foot on the pedal.
So what we'll have to do for you is give you a steering wheel that doesn't actually connect to the wheels.
You know what it's going to be like? It's like when you were a kid and you were that loser that couldn't play video games, and we gave you that controller that wasn't plugged in. And we're like, yeah, you're doing everything, dude. Nice job. That's you, dummy.
But how about this problem? What if the self-driving car gets hacked by an enemy?
I think that's a very big problem, and I think that it's no different than the struggles we have with our own personal credit and personal identities, how they can be hacked.
Well, think about a hacker getting access to like 5 to 10 to how many thousands of cars and having all of those cars use as missiles.
Yes.
You could wreck homes everywhere, wreck people everywhere.
I'm not going to say that that's not an issue, but it's something that we'll address. And I think ultimately less lives will be lost using self-driving cars than are currently lost by having idiots out there on the road driving.
Well, if I can at least get rid of all those signs chastising me as I drive to work about all the dead people from car accidents on my way to work on the freeway, I would be all for it. All right, well, 2 questions here. Who wins in the self-driving cars movement? Who wins?
Uber.
Uber wins. Who else wins?
The machines.
The machines win.
Yeah,
Do lazy-ass moms win? Because they can just put their kid in the car and send them to soccer practice. They don't have to drive them anymore.
Yeah, certainly I think that drivers win. I think people will enjoy transportation a little bit better once self-driving cars are here, because because it will become more seamless for them. I think there will be a hit. I'm assuming you're going to ask for losers. I think,
Who loses?
Taxi drivers, bus drivers,
I think
toll booth workers.
public transportation, I think, is going
What
to...
are you going to do
Gonzo.
with all those displaced taxi cab drivers? What are they going to do? They don't have any other skills.
I don't know. They could be like. I have no idea. I'm not. I'm not going to create any jobs. Apparently, if they go out of.
Somebody's got to look out for the common taxi cab driver. And that person is me. I will fight till my last dying breath to keep the machines at bay.
Yes, and you know who else loses? Airplane people.
Yes.
Airplanes. Air flights would be way cheaper. Right? Right?
Yeah, I think that there will be a diminishing of people flying once they realize that point to point they can get somewhere almost as fast just by driving across the country rather than taking airplane flights. But international flights will still be something that people will have to take.
One of the best things about being a teenager is having a car and mocking people that don't have access to cars.
Yes. And
That experience is gone with self-driving cars.
I think we should take this one step further. Let's get self-driving body pods, just like they have in Wall-E, so we don't actually have to move anymore. The thing will just take us everywhere we want to go at all times. Huh? Huh? Who's in? Who's buying stock?
The end of the world begins with a whisper, not a boom. Just remember that. It's a slow process.
So, Tay, you're not signing up for that Uber self-driving car subscription?
No. Never.
Orlin, you're there? First in line?
We're going to make it happen.
All right. All right. Self-driving cars. Check. We are split on whether it's a good idea or not. Number 2, and this is kind of a similar thread here. Drones. Drones, those little flying airplane thingies. They're becoming more and more popular, more and more accessible.
And more and more dangerous.
So, what are the pros of drones?
Drones are going to be a great asset at some point, but right now they're not much more than a toy. I know that most people, they laughed when Amazon announced that they were going to start delivering packages with drones. I don't know if that's going to happen. One of the things I think is going to be the future of drones is actually in construction.
And why would that be?
Well, construction, you often have situations where you're building upon things which keep getting higher and higher and higher. We've seen 3D printing where we can plop little blobs of material in the right place and build something up. I think that drones are going to be the way we make 3D printers sort of work for construction.
Now, Taylor, I can see you bubbling over there.
Yeah.
Why are you leery of an idea of drones becoming more incorporated into regular society?
We use drones as military weapons. We have them run into buildings and kill people. And the people controlling them think of it as nothing more than a video game. It's disconnecting us from the world around us. And I feel let's just say we get the self-driving cars. One machine becomes sentient and starts controlling other machines.
So you haven't answered
They
why...
can start controlling the drones and using them against us.
Okay, that's a beaten point now.
Okay.
So, but what's wrong with drones making houses?
Point number 2. I think that there needs to be restrictions on who's allowed to use drones.
So, like gun restrictions?
I don't
Like
think
background checks?
I don't think 8-year-old Tommy should be allowed to fly around a drone that can go 1,000 feet in the air and 70 miles an hour plus.
Okay, but why is it bad to have drones working on things like construction?
That's more jobs taken away from hardworking men and women.
Like crane drivers?
Yes. And where are they going to take their smoke breaks if they can't do it around the construction site?
Yeah, all the fumes from the drones are probably going to be real flammable, right?
Seriously. Just trying to take away our jobs. There's a point where you need to stop innovating.
We need to slow down.
We need to slow down. We're going too fast.
So,
What are we going to do if we automate everything?
I don't know. It's made my life so much better already. I can't imagine a better world than the one I'm already in.
I always try to stop innovation.
Do you call if you have to call somewhere? Like, if you have the option between emailing or calling, do you call or email?
Depends on the situation.
Okay.
Typically neither.
Don't do anything. I just want something to read my brain and give me what I want at all times. Okay, but so Amazon, do you think they'll actually develop it?
I don't know.
Is it worth it?
I think there's something that makes sense about it. I think that having something which will deliver at a lower cost and faster makes sense. Really from a big picture perspective, it makes a lot of sense what they were talking about to have these drones take packages. You order it, they can just deploy it right away from their deployment center and get it to you within minutes. And that's a pretty compelling argument.
What if someone steals your package?
That already happens.
What if they have a rival drone and they take your package out of the air with their drone?
So
are there going to be traffic cop drones?
We do have packages which are delivered by UPS, which they just drop off and they leave.
And people follow those trucks around and take the packages as they go.
But whose property is it in neutral airspace?
Well, I actually think it would be very difficult to intercept a drone mid delivery because they're pretty fast.
Thieves are very, very creative.
Not faster than my 12 gauge.
Exactly.
So give us an idea of how big these drones are for the older folk that haven't maybe seen a drone.
Well, drones range from something which you would consider just a little bit bigger than an insect to something which would fit on your table at your dining room table. So they can be multiple sizes, and it really depends upon the size of the payload that they have, the size, how much weight they can actually carry.
Payload. Interesting choice of words there.
Okay.
Where are you going with this?
Bombs.
Yes, we've already discussed how self-driving cars
Drones
could turn
have
into missiles.
the capacity to level entire cities with their payloads.
Okay, but just because they're delivering you a box of lotion from Amazon, I mean, really, if someone wants to bomb you, they can already do that.
What if my product's air pressure sensitive? What if it gets damaged up that high?
It sounds like the drone's already smarter than you are.
No.
Most drones would fly below 1,000 feet, which would not be an issue with any sort of air pressure.
We'll see.
Do you think it will be unsettling? Are they quiet? Because if there's a buzzing drone sound all the time...
I don't want my neighborhood disturbed by the noise of annoying little drones running
They're
around.
very quiet.
Ooh.
Very quiet.
And you said they're hella fast, too?
They can be very fast.
What's the fastest
70,
drones can
80, 90 miles an hour.
And how quick of an acceleration point?
I've seen a drone beat a Porsche off the line.
Well, there you go.
0 to 60 in under a second.
So, could we get as lazy as having an app on my phone, and as I'm hiking up in the mountains, and I'm like, frick, I really would go for a Sprite right now, and I didn't bring one. Could I drone or summon a drone to me and have it deliver a little Sprite like it would in the Hunger Games or something?
So currently it's illegal to fly a drone where you can't see it, where there's not line of sight.
For good reason.
I'm still paranoid. So like it can't go out in like agricultural areas, like places that don't have visibility.
You have to be able to see the drone at all times.
Who's the person that has to see it?
The person flying it.
Oh. So that's the new job. We build a giant tower where people just fly drones around all day.
No.
Yeah, that's where the bus drivers and taxi drivers...
How about they carry the stuff that the drones are carrying? And we just get rid of the drones.
We'll help the obesity problem as well.
Exactly. That's more important. With all this innovation, you know what you're going to do? Clog up the waiting rooms in medical facilities. That's what you're going to be doing.
Clog the arteries, clog the waiting rooms.
Yes.
Clog the mortuary.
Average waiting time, 6 weeks. That's what's coming if we do all this innovation. Because people are going to be so damn lazy that they're just going to be sitting on their butts all day, just hanging out.
Maybe we should just get rid of all the cars.
No. What we have right now is just the right amount of innovation and technology.
You would think that you were the old curmudgeon and Orlin was the young whippersnapper.
I just fear what I don't understand.
We're learning that all the time. All right, any other hot takes on drones, Orlin, before we move on?
No, I think drones are an interesting technology. They're mostly a toy right now, and they're mostly being used in the film industry, and of course the military stuff that you see. But I think that there's going to be interesting new takes on what goes on with drones.
I think starting today, we should keep a record of all kids that use either a remote control car or a remote control helicopter. If they crash either one 3 times, they are eliminated from being able to ever fly a drone.
I agree.
That's the new flight school.
Instead of
all
3
right?
chances, they get 1 chance.
That's right. No driver's test, just 3 chances and you're out, all right? Okay, in our last and maybe our most exciting technology of the pod, VR, also known as virtual reality. VR is a new thing that's starting to get a little bit more common, right? We've talked about it for a long time.
Yep.
Tay, what do you know about VR stuff?
So I've actually tried out a VR headset, the Samsung Gear VR, and it's kind of an interesting concept. What it does is it constructs a virtual world around you that you interact with peripheral technology.
Wow, that was really nerdy. So what does it look like?
So what I tried out was I was in the ocean and there were like sharks and fishes swimming around me. And instead of only seeing one image on the screen, as I turned my head, I saw a different perspective. So if a fish flew behind me or swam behind me, I could turn around and watch it swim away.
Well, were you ever nervous? You said you were swimming with sharks.
The image was kind of grainy. Like it wasn't like it didn't look real to me, so I wasn't completely immersed.
So it's kind of shitty still.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least the Samsung Gear VR. Sorry if you have one, but
Okay.
I wasn't impressed.
So, Orlin, in your line of work, is VR something that should be taken seriously as a new industry that will actually have like bigger implications, like a self-driving car or a drone would in terms of business, or is it just purely recreational?
I personally feel that one segment of VR is going to really make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I would call not VR, which is complete immersion in a completely virtual world, but in augmented reality, which is to take what you see out in the real world and add things to provide additional context. So
Pokemon Go is augmented reality.
I knew you were going to say that. Ugh.
and I think what's going to happen is the interfaces that we have to our reality are going to become more and more immersive for us. So imagine you're walking down the road. Right now, if you want GPS to guide you, you have to look at your phone. But what if as you are looking, it shows you an arrow that you need to follow out in the real world? Or as you're looking at buildings, it not only shows you the buildings, but it shows you that your friend lives in this building, or that around this corner there is a restaurant that has 4 open tables.
Why don't we just put a microchip in people's arms and just turn them into full-on cyborgs?
Okay. So, like, Google Glass was kind of talking about this,
So
right?
Google Glass was the first attempt for augmented reality.
You put on these glasses that let you film everything everywhere you are at all times, and it actually allows you to, like, see, like, what do you call it? Like a heads-up display, right?
Right, heads-up display, yeah.
As you're going along.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like if you're playing a video game, right? You see things that
Right.
are always there.
I think the other great application for virtual reality is actually to get more personal with our communications. So if you have a friend across the country and you want to talk, instead of getting on a phone where all you can hear is voice, or looking at a picture of each other on a screen, what if both of you put on your virtual reality headset and now you're both talking to each other in the same room, looking at each other full body, so that
This sounds kinky.
well, the issue is to make it a more natural interaction.
I'm thinking about all the nerds out there that are going to be trying to do stuff with it.
Well, what we've seen with technological changes over the past 30 years is the porn industry actually has a huge impact on which technologies succeed and which ones fail. And so the porn industry may be the deciding factor in if virtual reality succeeds or not.
Just like the difference between HD, DVD, and Blu-ray.
Exactly.
So here's the question. Are holograms dead? Because if you would have watched a movie from the 90s or 80s, I think people like to think of a hologram like something that would appear like a pixelated image would show up in like your real space. Is that gone? Is that not something we're pursuing?
I think that's exactly what virtual reality is back when they were talking about holograms, they didn't understand any other way to produce them other than thinking of utilizing light to produce a holographic image. I think we've come up with additional ways that we can produce the same effect, but not necessarily utilize the holographic technology that was started.
So, Tay, when you
Yes.
think about VR, are you looking for something that you could just experience something, or are you looking for something that you could interact with?
I'm looking for something that I could interact with.
So if you're playing a video game where there's a shooter, you want to actually be in a place, hiding behind trees, peeking out and taking a shot at somebody and potentially getting shot at.
No, that scares me. I'll admit it. The idea of doing Call of Duty for real scares the shit out of me. I couldn't cut it.
Might be a little stressful.
Yeah, I don't want that. When I play games, I want there to be a little separation from me and what's going on in the game.
My point is, like, you were in the little ocean, right? And there
Yeah.
were sharks swimming around you. You weren't nervous.
No,
Clearly, you didn't feel like you were there.
It looked fake.
My point is that as this technology gets more and more seamless and it becomes feeling more and more realistic, I don't think we're going to want to experience all the same things as we might.
So the real question is, do we want to be an active participant or a spectator?
Right.
I think that's actually one of the things that VR is good for. Is businesses are currently they're having virtual reality sporting events. So from the comfort of your own home, you can watch a basketball game from any seat within their arena in their perspective.
Wow.
So that's cool.
That could be breathtaking.
Yeah. You're like, what's it look like to sit courtside? You got a camera right there. You get to experience that.
But here's the thing, is that the more of this stuff that we end up doing, the less we eliminate real life stimulus, right? Real things. It's just eventually we're going to be in our basements all day. Or like, what is it? Surrogates hooked up to a machine with a dummy of ourselves experiencing the real world.
I mean,
Well, one of my favorite quotes from Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy, is that the holodeck, the virtual environment that's on Star Trek, that once we invent that will be the last thing we ever invent, because people will go into that world and they'll never come out of it.
And that's how we eradicate everyone, Taylor.
yep.
Lure them into the holodeck.
But if Terminator teaches us anything,
Or
It's-
iRobot.
it's don't trust the machines. We've had a 1,000-year battle with technology, man versus machine. It's one of the oldest tropes in human history, and it's there for a reason, because the machines are dangerous. And if we can create machines that can trick us so we can't discern reality from fiction and can think for themselves and have access to our water, our food, our shelter, all of our
Taylor's
resources.
standing up on his chair now. He's holding the microphone. He's pointing.
I warn you of the dangers of this advanced technology, and I counsel you to not support it, to reject it as much as you can.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. That's where I'm at. You know what? I think tech's great. I'm glad we had Orlin on to enlighten us a little bit. It taught me that I don't know as much about tech as I thought I did. I also learned that Taylor knows shit about technology. So,
I know everything I need to know about tech.
Well, I think there's several people that would differ.
They can go to hell. Whatever. I don't care.
Orlin, thanks for being on today.
Thanks for having me.
We wish you great luck with all your endeavors. Tay, you're a jackass, and you proved it once again on another week of Jack of No Trades.
You'll all be thanking me when we take down the machines.
I just want to see one of these machines. Like, I'm just picturing
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Like I don't know, just some industrial factory.
I
machine
expect
doing
a
something
big
totally
apology when this all
meticulous.
goes down.
All right. Well, you'll get it. All right, everyone. Until next week, we'll see you later. We're out. Peace.